Well, hello all of my crafty friends. You guys have asked for me to do a video, and you know I'm all about doing what it is that you guys are needing. So one of the questions that I've found a couple of times is how to scan your stamps into your Cricut. So today I'm going to go through scanning your stamps into your Cricut as well as using your ScanNCut. So it's essentially the same thing, but you can just choose how you want to do it. I'm going to also be bringing in some Gina K amalgam ink as well as some Memento Tuxedo black ink. Those are the inks that I'll be stamping with today because they are both Copic friendly. Now there are tons of Copic friendly inks out there, but these are the two that I use. The Gina K ink is a hybrid ink, and that means that you can use it for both watercoloring and for Copic coloring, so it's pretty much a multi-use ink. The Memento Tuxedo Black is just for your alcohol inks. You would not want to use that on watercoloring because it will smear. So just a little tidbit, and I will be coming back with some more information about inks and papers and markers and pens and things like that, because that was another request. So just know that I hear you and I see you, and I appreciate you telling me what it is that you need. So make sure you guys are commenting and let me know what you want to see. After all, this channel was created for you guys. So I bought in one of my small Doris stamp sets. I really love this little stamp set. It's pretty cute. And I'm just going to be focusing on the images today. If you guys are interested in kind of how to do something with the sentiments as well, please let me know. I can bring you back a little snapshot of that in a little bit. But today I just really wanted to focus on showing you guys how to get this scanned into your computer and to work with it on your Cricut. I'm going to use some temporary glue dots just because I find this to be the easiest way for me to stamp all of my images. And when I am scanning my images, I typically want them to stay the same position all the time. So this is why I stamp this way. So I'm leaving them on their plastic, and I'm just putting some glue dots on the back of the plastic. I'm not putting it on the stamps. It's on this plastic film that we are provided to hold the stamps together. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to line that up into my MISTI. You do want to use some type of stamp positioner just in case you have to stamp more than once. This is important because when you are scanning, it is going to pick up everything. I'm using some Nina Classic Crest Solar White 80-pound cardstock. That is my go-to cardstock for Copic coloring. It is alcohol friendly. So I'm going to get this image stamped out. Now remember, you want a crisp black image. If you get blurry lines, it's going to show up, and if it shows up, it's going to try to cut out. So just remember, when you're doing this, bold black crisp outlines, because whatever you scan is whatever you will get. And that's with the Cricut as well as with your ScanNCut. It is essentially scanning, so it's trying to pick up every single thing, and you will have to go in and delete any little strays. So like if your ink kind of splatters or something like that, it will pick up the smallest things. So now I have that stamped out. I'm going to go and put this face down on my scanner. I could not show you guys this because my printer is inside of a closet, but it's going to be face down on my scanner, and I'm going to place this in the corner. So usually with your scanner, or with your printer, you have the glass, and it will have a small square in the top corner that shows you where you can line things up if you want it to be in that top corner. That is where I am placing this on the glass. If that doesn't make sense, please leave me a message and I will pop a picture in our craft therapy group to show you guys exactly what it is that I am speaking of. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get that popped over into the scanner. And once I get that popped into the scanner, I'm going to take you guys over to my computer to show you what it is that we need to do from there. So I hope you guys enjoy this, and I hope that this is very beneficial for you. I hope that it is done in a slow enough pace. Please let me know. So I have an HP and I have what's called HP Smart. And then I can go and click on scan. Now I'm scanning it as a document and I'm leaving it at 8.5 by 11. Very, very important. It's going to be 8.5 by 11. And I put that I was scanning it from the glass. So this is going to go ahead and it is going to scan into my system. Now, once this gets done scanning, I am going to have two options to save this. And your scanner may be a little bit different, but they should be generally the same. So just look around. But I'm going to have the option to either save this as a PDF. If you look down at the bottom where the blue is, it's either PDF or JPEG. I'm going to be saving it as a JPEG. And initially here you see I saved it as a PDF. I had to go back and fix that. You want to save it as a JPEG. Cricut will not upload a PDF. So there you see I saved it. I'm going back and saving it again as the JPEG. Make sure that you're doing this. Your Cricut will not upload a PDF. So now I'm going into Cricut and here I'm going to go into upload and I'm going to click browse and then I'm going to find that image. I'm going to bring it in as a complex image. I just always do however you want to do it. And it's already on this little background tool and I'm just going to click my background. It's going to remove as much of the background as it possibly can, but I'm seeing these little specks like where the edges of the paper are, and I'm zooming in a lot because I want to clean up all of these little specks that I see, and I still won't get them all. This is more important for print than cut, and I will show you that feature as well, than it is for the actual just cutting out the die cut portion of it. Because when you're cutting out the die cut portion of it, I will show you that you can go in and use the contour feature and you're only going to get what it is that you want. But just for showing you guys, I do always go over small areas at a time and use the eraser on the biggest setting that it has, just to kind of try to clean up and catch any of these little specks that may have been picked up from my scanner glass. Now this could be dust that's actually on your scanner. It could be ink trails. It could be a fingerprint smudge. Whatever it is, just know that your scanner will pick it up. So now I'm going in and I'm removing this little line. This line is the bottom of the piece of paper that I put into the scanner. It picks up everything, guys, I'm telling you. So once I get all of that cleaned up, then we can go back and start working on the actual image and getting them uploaded into our system. So as you can also see, I'm not worried about cleaning in between the pieces of the actual image because it's a die cut. You would see all of that if you were doing a die cut. Now you could choose to go ahead and delete additional areas like the area between the handle of the grater, but I don't do that. So now I'm going to click next and we have the option of print then cut and we have the option of cut. This first time we're going to go in and we're going to save it in our print then cut file. So I'm going to save it as taco print then cut. Now I'm going to go back through that exact same process, but this time we're going to save it as a cut file, and you have to do this if you want to be able to use it interchangeably. And I will tell you that the difference is if you use it as a print then cut, then you can choose, maybe you need your grater to be a little bit bigger. Then you can manipulate your sizes if you would like to, because it's going to essentially print the image and cut around it for you. However, if you are just cutting out the die cut and you're going to bring that back in and you're going to stamp it out using your stamps, it is very important to keep your image at the correct size. And I'm going to show you that in just a second when we go back into the area. So you can see again, I'm just going in and kind of cleaning up all of this stuff. And then once I get that done, we're going to click on the next button again. And this time we're going to save it as the cut file. And I will save my image as taco cut. So you can name it whatever you want. You can do tags so that it makes it easier to find. So you might put cheese, you might put cheese grater, you might put taco, you might put hey, you might put cheesy. Whatever it is that you feel like, if you use that as a keyword in your search, when you're searching for images, that it would help you find it. Because the other thing that you need to understand is this will now be in your image library. So when you click on images in Cricut and you are looking for something in particular that you uploaded, if you put in the right term, it will bring this up as well. So now I've got everything kind of the way that I want it to be. I'm going to go ahead and click on next, and we are going to get ready to save this again as a cut file. And what I just did there was click the preview button just because it allows me to see before I actually click continue. So now we're going to click on the second one. As you can see, the green outline will come around it once I click on it to change it to saving as the cut image. And I'm going to change that to taco cut. We're going to save and it's going to upload. So now you see we have both of these in here. We can click on them and we can bring them in. So first I'm bringing the print and cut in. It comes in as at a crazy ratio. Don't worry. All you need to do is change it back to 8.5 by 11. And that is the size of the sheet of paper from the scanner. Now I've clicked on contour and I'm going to go down here to the bottom and I'm going to hide all contour, and I'm just going to unclick the things that I want, which are the taco, the cheese, and the grater. This is going to keep it at the same proportion, the correct proportion for it, because you changed your sheet to 8.5 by 11. Very, very important. Now I'm going to bring in our print and cut image. Again, I'm going to change this to 8.5 by 11. But when you do that, it causes an issue because you can't print then cut that size. Well, you know, the bottom part of this invisible sheet of paper is actually not there. So I'm going to bring in a square and I'm going to make this square 8.5 inches wide by 5.5 inches high. And that's just going to help me cut this invisible line that we have down here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to then grab that invisible box and the square that I created, and I'm just going to slice. And once I click slice, it's going to delete that imaginary box. See there? I just click the X and there it goes. Now we can use our print then cut feature as well. So once we get that done, I'm going to do the cut file first, and then I'm going to do the print then cut. And I'm just clicking make it. We are going to go and click continue. I'm going to allow my maker to come up. And then I am going to place whatever type of cardstock I'm going to use. I'm going to be using an 80-pound cardstock because I used the Nina Classic Crest Solar White 80-pound so that I can do my Copic coloring. Once I get that done, then I'm going to click continue. It's going to bring up my medium cardstock up at the top. It's going to tell me what tools I need to load. Now, if you have an issue with the fact that sometimes your paper doesn't cut all the way through, you can change that pressure setting to more. If you feel like it's cutting too much, then you can change the pressure setting to less. So I went ahead and cut that out, and this is what we have. And see, because I kept my paper at the 8.5 by 11, we get perfect die cuts from the Cricut. So now we have that piece that was left over that cut it out. Don't throw that away, because now that can be utilized as your template to make sure that you are stamping your images correctly. So what I'm doing now is I'm just going to take all of my images. I'm going to make sure that I nestle them in to their openings. And once I get them all placed the way that I want them to be placed, then I'm going to close the door of my MISTI. I'm going to let those come up, and now I'm going to pop in my die cuts to put them in. Now this is the same as when you do die cuts. If you don't put the die correctly around it, then you're going to get a little bit of an offset. And of course, I'm not perfect. If I was trying very, very diligently, I'm sure I could have. And after I did it a couple times, I got it perfectly. But I don't think I was putting my taco in all the way, which is why I was getting a little bit more of a border than I wanted. But you go in and now you stamp down your images and you have them already cut out. You have them die cut. There you go. Look, our little cheese grater with the little face is super cute. I love it. And our little cheese guy, look at him. Isn't he so cute? It even cuts out around the hands and the feet, so you don't even have to worry about that part. Now, this was the one that I was saying I feel like I got it a little bit off, but it was okay. So now you guys have that part. Now I'm also going to go in and I'm going to use the print then cut. So I'm going to go in, I have it set to the print then cut. There's this extra sheet. I'm just cutting out the top sheet, so you don't even have to worry about that part. I'm going to click continue. I'm going to first send it to my printer. Once it is sent to my printer, then I will come back and bring it to the Cricut, and the Cricut will cut it out and it will already be printed. So there won't be any need to do any stamping. And it will already be cut out, so there's no need to do any die cutting. So essentially, you can archive all of your stamp sets somewhere if you so chose to do so. I'm going to, again, tell it what type of cardstock I'm using, and it's going to be the 80-pound cardstock, the Nina Classic Crest Solar White, because, again, I would be doing Copic coloring on this, and your printer ink is Copic or alcohol marker friendly, so you can color once you have printed it out. Now, this is where I was speaking of the more pressure. You just click that drop down and you have the option for more, or you have the option for less. So once you get that done, you can go ahead and get it printed out, and then you have the exact same effect that you would have had when you did the actual die cuts and stamped on it. So it's really just a personal preference of how you would like for this to be done. So now at this point, I have it over at the Cricut, and my Cricut is scanning the black lines around, which they call the registration marks, to ensure that it is going to cut out this image in the correct manner. And here we go again. So now we have those images that the printer printed, and then the Cricut cut them out. And because I kept it at the correct proportion, it is still cutting the exact size of the printed image. So there you go. You have the Cricut and it being stamped, and then you have the Cricut printing it and then cutting it. So now the next thing that we're going to go into is the Brother ScanNCut. So with the Brother ScanNCut, you would do this in the reverse. You are going to stamp your images first, and then we're going to go over to the Brother. Now, let me tell you guys, this next piece of footage is not going to be the brightest, simply because I don't typically use this other camera. So I'm just showing you here that you can keep that little template that you had from it being cut out in the Cricut so that you can use it later. You don't necessarily have to, because anytime you cut them out with the Cricut, you're going to have that template, but that's just an option to keep it in there. So now I'm bringing you guys over to the Brother ScanNCut. Now I have printed out another set of these images, and what I'm going to do first is I'm going to tell my brother to scan this in. So that is that button underneath the home button. I'm going to click scan, and I'm going to click this button that says direct cut. I'm going to actually click on the Brother image, and now here I'm going to click on this little wrench because this is black and white. I'm typically cutting out in color after I've colored, but today is black and white, so I want to change that. And then I'm going to click start. So now once I've clicked start, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get this scanned in. So we're going to hopefully get you guys a little bit better focused. I do apologize. And once we get you guys focused in, then I'm going to show you this scanning in. Now, I will tell you one of the concerns that I have with my ScanNCut is the mats don't stay sticky very well. So what I'm doing here is I'm scanning it in, and I always use a little piece of Post-it tape, or I will wash my mats really good and use a little bit of pixie spray, and that is how I restick my mats. So now you see it has picked up every single thing on this mat. But we're going to use these little arrows to kind of get close to our images to try to ensure that it is not picking up all of this extra stuff. And again, right now, I am not going to cut out the sentiments, because right now the Brother ScanNCut would try to cut out each one of those letters individually. And I'm going to show you a hack for that in just a second. So now I'm going to do this outline distance. I always do it at 0.4. And then I'm going to click the edit button, and this is where I'm going to delete all of the sentiment pieces. So you see there's a little red square around every piece, and I'm just clicking delete, okay, delete, okay, delete, okay, all the way until I only get to the 3 images that I want. Once I get the 3 images that I want, I'm going to click OK. And then I am going to go in and I'm going to select cut, because that's what I'm wanting this to do, is cut. So once I get it to cutting, I'm going to click start, and I'm going to allow it to cut out my image. And I'm just making sure that my tape is down securely, because I don't want my paper to shift while it is cutting. So now we're going to get all of those images cut out again, and they cut out beautifully. I don't really think you can tell a difference, and you can see that those are cut out and we're left with just the sentiments. I didn't really find a difference between doing my Cricut, my ScanNCut, or the Print Then Cut. But now, so these are the ScanNCut images. So I just wanted to show you those. And again, that nice little border, because I added one. So I want to show you something. So now we're left with these sentiments, and you may want to cut out the sentiment, but of course you don't want it to botch up your entire sentiment. So I have these Spectrum Noir art liners. These are Copic friendly, but you could use Microns, Copic multi-liners, EK Success journaling pens, whatever. And I'm just going to create a little bit of a border. And I usually do like just a kind of wavy line with about that 0.4 of an inch edge around it, if you will say. And I'm going to do that to all of them. The important thing is to make sure that the lines meet, that they are closed, because wherever there's a break, the Brother ScanNCut is going to think that you want it to cut out. And this is what we come up with once we take it back to the ScanNCut. So you are able to cut out your sentiments, and you could do the same thing with your Cricut. You would just put that outline around it and do it as a Print Then Cut. So here are all of our images that we've done today. We have our ScanNCut images, and then we have our Cricut images. I hope that this was helpful. I hope that this was beneficial. If you guys have any questions, or you need anything extra, or you want to see anything, please let me know. I am more than happy to help in any way that I can. You guys know that I want this community to be